Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out Am I the A-hole? Story 1. AITA BC. I don't want to do holidays. My BIL. Me, 31F, and my husband, 34M, have been together 10 years. My Mil and Phil are big on holidays, but there are only 5 people there, M/Phil, BIL, husband, and me. My husband and his brother have toxic relationship. My BIL, 38M, is 2x divorced, a drunk, and gets verbally abusive when drunk. I don't tolerate it well. I have 3 brothers, we went through hell growing up. Our bond is strong and there's love/respect. My husband and BIL have vicious fights. 90% of them are drunken phone calls at night. When my BIL is drunk, I try to get my husband off the phone but sometimes end up mediating. BIL thinks I make more sense than my husband when he's drunk. I have an extensive family history of addiction. At the end of the calls, I feel triggered. I have PTSD. My triggers are mine, but over the years I have this mental list of horrible things he's said to me/husband. Told us we are fed up because we take meds/go to therapy, me I have daddy issues, and my husband that he's better in every way on our anniversary. My husband doesn't want to cut him off, I did months ago. The ILS enable BIL, say he's not the problem when his wives leave him. BIL was very upset over second divorce, so we all put time into helping him start over the past 2 years. I even spent hours on the phone him while he sobbed and wished things were different. September, my husband and I went through a rough patch. So bad I moved in with my brother and Sil for a month. When I was gone, my husband got unwanted advice from his brother. Said to be as cruel as he can to me, change banks B/C. I work for the bank, Financial Crimes Unit. And will go through his accounts. My MNFIL encouraged this too. Like none of them have known me for the past 10 years, questioning my morals/love. October, my husband and I worked it out. My husband gets a text from BIL saying I'm alive just in case you were wondering. Husband responds sorry been busy with work, life, and wife. BIL says was just remember who was there for you when your wife was gone for a month. This is the first time in 10 years that I decided that I want like to spend Thanksgiving with just my husband, Mil and Phil on Black Friday. Said I can even bring pizza if they don't want to fool with leftovers. This upset ILS, all of them. Mil says we just won't have Thanksgiving at all if you two aren't coming. BIL texts husband saying y'all are punishing the parents. Today, Mil told my husband that they weren't sure if my BIL would be at the house Friday. The plans were made a month in advance. I didn't want to blindside them. I'm on Wellbutrin and Klonopin. In therapy. We're in marriage counseling. We're trying. I still feel like crap. I feel selfish. Swallowed by guilt. Like I'm tearing apart a family. Like I'm the problem and my ILS all feel that way too. I also feel they want to force a relationship and disregard our feelings. I'm trying to keep our peace. I'm tired of putting everyone else's homes first. I don't want to be around my BIL ever again. AITA. Story 2. AITA for asking someone to call the job and not me. So I had a coworker who wasn't feeling well and decided to call off for their overnight shift. 40 minutes before their shift. I informed them to call the place we work at so it can be recorded on file. Not me first. Either way I get a text minutes later from my mid-shift person saying such and such called off. I told them I'll be in shortly, could you wait an extra hour so I can get myself together? Which they did, so grateful. I get in my car and then get another call from the mid-shift saying the overnight just walked in, cleared out their stuff and quit. The consensus is the text I sent them was too cold or too rude. I told them to call the job, not text me. For context, it was my day off and I was about to go to bed, but I was fully prepared to go in like I always do. The excuse I got was they were too tired and couldn't make it. I guess they had enough energy come in and go off about how we are all weird here and clean out their locker while bitching on the phone the entire time. Edit. For context, I am the immediate manager, but I prefer to say co-worker as we just all have a different set of responsibilities. Story 3. AITA for not wanting to send a Christmas wish list. I live on my own, have a house, a good paying job, etc., and generally buy things I need as I need them. I don't generally purchase myself things unless they are necessities, but will save for big ticket items or occasionally splurge on things like expensive electronics or board games, etc. that I've had my eye on for a while. I hate clutter and have no interest in trinkets or cheap tacky things that just sit around taking up space. I also hate receiving gifts, whether for my birthday or special events. I've always struggled with having to like what I'm given and put on a show for the person giving it. I generally ask for nothing. A non-immediate family member of mine has numerous children, multiple low-paying jobs, and struggles to make ends meet. They spend their money unwisely and have really bad shopping habits, purchasing needless items and making impulse decisions all the time. They complain about not having money. They also come from the poor mindset that giving and receiving gifts shows how much you like someone. This family member is insistent that I provide them with a list of things I want for Christmas. I've told them on multiple occasions that I don't want anything and would much rather spend time with them and the kids because that's a gift enough for me. They've made it clear that's not good enough and they want to buy me something. My concern is that I know everything on my actual list of wants are out of their budget. Even the lowest ticket items on my list, which are $50 to $100, are still out of her range, and even if she had the money to buy it, I'd much rather she spend that money on her family and not me. I could afford to buy those things if I desperately wanted them. In the past I've received things like gag gifts or things that came from a dollar store, etc. that I either really don't want, and are eventually donated or thrown out, or would have much preferred purchasing from a reputable source so it would last much longer / function better. I've made it clear to her, politely, that I really appreciate the sentiment behind the gift but don't want to inherit gifts that I don't have space or use for. She didn't take it amazingly. I feel horribly ungrateful for not wanting to receive gifts, but she won't let it go. AITA. Dr. Family member who is really bad with money is demanding I give them a list of things to buy for me, but I know the things I want they can't afford. I've made it clear I appreciate it but want nothing. They won't leave it alone. Story 4. AITA for introducing my stepmom to her fiancé. I, 23F, lost my mom when I was very young. When I was 11 my dad met Kelly, 39F, and began to date her. I never call Kelly mom, but I love her and thought she was a great addition to our lives. Kelly and my dad went on to have my brother Jason, 8M. My dad passed 3 years ago. It was a difficult time but Kelly and I did our best. Money was not an issue as my dad had insurances, but it was still painful. Since starting college I became close with Trish, 40F, who was a friend of my uncle on my mom's side. I'm interested in grad school and Trish has a PhD in the field of my interest. My uncle knew of this and introduced us and we had been chatting. I would consider us friends as we talked about things outside of academia, too, so Trish knows about my family and vice versa. She said Kelly sounded lovely and I was lucky to have such a nice stepmom. Trish works mostly overseas and was apologetic she couldn't attend my dad's funeral, so she came to visit me in person last year. Long story short, Trish and Kelly hit it off and started dating. Trish traveled back and forth to see Kelly and Jason and finally proposed a few weeks ago. Kelly said yes and they began to plan how to work things out. Trish's job overseas is well paying and highly regarded and she can't find something of the same caliber easily. Kelly decided to move to be with Trish and taking Jason with her. I am just happy that the people I love are happy. My father's side of the family wasn't okay with Jason moving overseas. They said Trish probably fell for Kelly from all the things I told her and decided to swoop in now that my dad was gone. They said they would fight for Jason, something they wouldn't have to do if I didn't introduce Trish to my family. They were also mad that I just gave my blessing to Kelly moving instead of making Trish move instead. AITA? Story 5. AITA for letting my sister go hungry. For background, I, F21, currently live with my sister, F19. We have an arrangement where I cook us both dinner Mondays Thursday, she cooks on Friday and we fend for ourselves on weekends. However, my sister has never held up her side of the bargain. She just sits around and hopes that I'll get hungry enough to cook instead. This has been going on for months and it's started to really irk me. So, today, a Sunday, I was making myself dinner and she come in and asked if she could have some. I said no because I only made one portion. She asked why I didn't think of her when cooking. I snapped at her and told her that she's an adult and can make her own food. That she does this all the time and she needs to stop treating me like a personal chef. She responded by calling me inconsiderate and saying this is proof I don't care about her. Then she stormed off to her room. I understand that I shouldn't have snapped at her, but I feel like she's overreacting. I've asked a couple of my friends and they're split. Some say that I should have been more considerate since I was already cooking. Others say I'm right and that my sister should cook for herself. I know this is something really minor in the grand scheme of things, but I need to know. AITA? Story 6. WIBTA if I maliciously complied with my mom's request to dress up for Christmas lunch. My mom has a habit of treating family members as accessories for formal events. Probably an exaggeration on my part. I don't think she does it maliciously. For example, my mom insisted my dad wear his full military dress uniform to a Christmas gathering at her family's house. He was reluctant due to his wanting to get out of the military because of serious workplace issues that threatened his career. She insisted, rather verbally, and he gave in, and paraded him in front of her family, who had a great reverence for the US military due to their country's experience in World War II. The entire time, it felt like my mom was showing him off like a trophy. This Christmas, I will be taking my mom to Mass in the morning and then to my sister's place for lunch with her family. She is insisting that I dress up for the occasion, as my eldest niece will be bringing her fiancé. Although she hasn't said it outright, I think she's embarrassed that my sister is completing her graduate degree and my niece did exceptionally well in her first semester of nursing school, whereas I dropped out of grad school a decade ago and have procrastinated about going back despite her endless encouragement. I planned on dressing up for church in a 19th century suit, specifically a Victorian-era physician's three-piece suit, I enjoy wearing for formal occasions but planned on changing before going to my sister's, as she and my brother-in-law rarely change out of their PJs for such gatherings and allow the two youngest nieces to play dress-up as superheroes/princesses. My mom readily agreed, but is insisting I wear a tie and blazer to be respectful and presentable in front of the family. WIBTA if kept my overly formal suit on for the lunch? It would certainly embarrass my mom as it would look like I was in costume rather than dressed formally, especially with everyone else dressing casually, but I don't want to offend anyone. It feels a bit like cutting off my nose to spit my face, but truthfully, I enjoy wearing it when I can get away with it. Am I just being immature and childish? That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.